All right, it is Thursday, and it is April 16th. I'm on day 32 now of learning to code, and I just finished Bootstrap. I also just realized I'm wearing the exact same shirt I was wearing in the last video. I promise that I've changed, and I've learned a lot too. Just finished wrapping up basically using Bootstrap to make this Tinder copy for dogs, basically that looks at lots of different elements from using font awesome icons to buttons to cards to these sliders. A lot of really neat stuff about Bootstrap. And I just want to tell you really quick, one of the things that I wrote down in my journal for the introduction to Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a library that contains reusable bits of code that you can use in your project, and you can even make your own libraries. That was when I did the introduction to Bootstrap on April 6th through 9th. On April 9th, I started the intermediate Bootstrap, which I just finished. I just wrapped up. And the only thing I wrote down for the summary for that was Bootstrap loves classes. That was it. But a couple of other things that I learned in the more intermediate Bootstrap is that it's really important to make sure that your code, when you're writing code, that your code is easy to read and that it's clean. So this is the code for that website. And I guess, creating lines that are commented out that let you have either yourself in the future or other users easily find where they need to change things is a really important part. Combining selectors was really big too. Using hierarchical, whatever that word is, versus combined selectors. That children sit on top of parents. What was the other one? Do not repeat yourself, which is the acronym DRY, D-R-Y. Don't repeat yourself versus the wet code, we enjoy typing. So make sure your code is basically readable, that is modular, that is efficient, and that it's not too long, but in that order of priority for what you do with your code. So wrapping up Bootstrap, that was really good. Intermediate Bootstrap went through everything from the z-index to media query breakpoints to talking about code refactoring and then combining selectors, as I mentioned, as well as selector priority. So now I've just started a new milestone, my 100th lesson in the 8th section now, where I'm going to be learning about JavaScript. And JavaScript is going to be what makes my website actually do something. So I'm really excited to go through this and learn more about computer programming in terms of interpreted versus compiled languages. I do want to make just one point here as I'm wrapping this up. The interpreted languages like JavaScript, Python, and Ruby, it sounds like they are not as efficient. Something that I learned in that last lesson there about JavaScript is that an interpreted language makes the words within the code very powerful, but it's also very slow because it executes everything line by line. Compiled languages, which sound much more efficient, are much faster, and they're much more the way Angela Yu in this class from Udemy phrased it. They're much more serious coding languages. So really excited to be getting started with JavaScript because I feel like HTML and CSS and Bootstrap were really good about creating a structure for your website, but now I'm going to be able to create a website that actually completes tasks. So I'm really interested in that. I thought it was really interesting in Angela's class here where she talked about how you can disable JavaScript in Google Chrome, and when you do so, it does things like removes all of the ads from the New York Times website, which is kind of interesting because they depend on Java. So anyways, I am looking forward to starting JavaScript. Thanks for those of you who have followed along. This has been a really neat journey, and I am on section 8 of 35 in this course on Udemy, and it's about to get really, I think, heavy now. So it's looking pretty cool. Intermediate JavaScript is next, and then talking about the document object model, boss level challenge, advanced JavaScript, jQuery, and then eventually section 19, which I'm really looking forward to because I learned a little bit about this week, was APIs, application programming interfaces. I really think that's where I'm going to spend a lot of my time, even though that class is only 2.5 hours long. So we'll see.